Cardi B just walked onto Instagram Live and torched the entire internet's assumption that a shared child means a shared leash, and the fallout is spreading across every timeline in America faster than her label can print the promotional graphics. Cardi B played a snippet of an unreleased record that lit every timeline on fire, unloaded a lyric about how no baby will ever cage her, and when the comment sections tried to drag her into a corner, Cardi B pulled up a chair, turned the camera closer, and dissected the line syllable by syllable in front of the whole planet. The receipts are still spinning. The clips are still multiplying. The reaction channels cannot cut fast enough. And Stefon Diggs, a man who honestly believed a newborn was going to function as a diamond collar around Cardi B, is watching his own name become a warning label in real time. Stefon Diggs picked the wrong woman to run that particular play against, and now the entire hip-hop internet is dragging him for it in surround sound. Before we crack this open, tap that like button, hit subscribe, and turn the bell on so you never miss when we drag the truth into the light. Now, let's set the scene properly. Belcalis Marlenis Almanzar, the woman the world calls Cardi B, opened up Instagram Live to address the viral "A Baby Won't Trap Me" lyric from a song teaser that had every corner of hip-hop dissecting her mood for days on end. The broadcast dropped on July 28, 2026, and it was Cardi B in her rawest form, no PR team, no edit bay, no delete button, no rehearsal, no publicist hovering in the corner reminding her to soften the language. This was Cardi B unfiltered, and the internet had never seen her more certain about anything in her entire career. Stefon Diggs honestly believed sharing a child locked Cardi B into place forever, and this broadcast obliterated that theory in under 20 minutes. Let's pull the file open on why this thing detonated the second it hit the feed, because the timeline behind it is even more damning than the lyric itself. Rewind first to February 15, 2026. Cardi B was on stage in Los Angeles for the Little Miss Drama Tour, and Cardi B leaned into the microphone in front of a packed arena and said the quiet part into the loudest speakers she could find. Cardi B told the crowd flatly that just because she wasn't with her baby daddy anymore didn't mean anyone got to run their mouth about him. The moment that clip hit my timeline, I stopped scrolling entirely. Cardi B said, "Wasn't with." Wasn't. Past tense. Full stop. That's not a maybe. That's not a "we're taking space." That's not a "we're figuring it out." That's a headstone with a date carved into it. And still, weeks later, people were sliding into comment sections asking whether Cardi B and Stefon Diggs were somehow back together. Back together? Cardi B literally announced the split from a stage under stadium lights while a sold-out crowd recorded her every syllable in HD. Stefon Diggs really thought a Mother's Day photo dump could rewind a public declaration made in front of thousands of witnesses with camera phones. He was daydreaming. He was writing fiction with his eyes open. Then came the People exclusive that landed almost in the same news cycle. A source close to Cardi B told the outlet that things had gotten too heated, too complicated, too tangled to salvage, and that Cardi B, being the no-nonsense operator she has always been, pulled all the way back the second she felt her trust cracking. Read that again with me. The second she felt her trust cracking. Not after therapy attempts failed. Not after the fights got too loud. Not after some long emotional negotiation across months of couples counseling. The second. That single second. That's the vocabulary of a woman who runs on light switches, not dimmers. And you think a newborn was going to flip that switch back on for Stefon Diggs? That's not how Cardi B is engineered, and Cardi B has been showing the world that same operating system for years without pause, without apology, without exception. Fast forward to May 2026, and the entire internet caught a clip of Cardi B and Stefon Diggs going at it outside a Maryland coffee shop. Voices raised. Body language stiff. Public. Loud. Unmissable. TMZ caught up with Stefon Diggs a beat later and asked him about the confrontation, and instead of taking accountability, instead of saying nothing, instead of even a rehearsed "we're working through things," this man looked into the camera and said, "What argument? I don't even think that was an argument. It's alright, women get like that sometimes." Read that back one more time. Women get like that sometimes. Stefon Diggs handed the world a masterclass in dismissiveness on a silver plate with a bow on top. He flattened a whole public conflict into a stereotype about women being emotional. And Stefon Diggs thought that framing was going to fly with Cardi B, of all women? The woman who built an entire empire on refusing to swallow disrespect? Bookmark this moment, because right there, that sentence, that's where the ceiling in that relationship snapped clean off. You cannot dismiss a woman like Cardi B into a caricature and expect her to sit still afterward. That kind of language doesn't just insult her. It insults her audience. And her audience is her army. Cardi B has never lost an audience battle in her entire career, and Stefon Diggs just handed her the ammunition to torch him with. Now roll the calendar to July 28, 2026, the day the fuse finally caught. Cardi B released a snippet from an unreleased record, and the line rewound itself into the top of every For You page in America within hours. Cardi B rapped that a baby won't trap her, that she'd walk out with the baby and everything else, that she'd take the house, the car, the dog, the entire life she built and vanish. That's not a subliminal. That's not a maybe she means him. That's not a read into it if you want. That's a public address broadcast on a beat, delivered on wax, time-stamped and archived forever. And instead of tucking the lyric away when the internet went wild, Cardi B got on live and made the entire situation louder, sharper, and more precise. That's a very specific personality profile. That's someone who doesn't need cover, doesn't need spin, and doesn't need a PR filter between her mouth and the microphone. On the same broadcast, Cardi B told her audience that she knew exactly what she said and exactly how she felt when she said it. Then Cardi B went further. Sometimes, she explained, people assume that because a child exists between two people, the mother stays fixed in place, unmoving, unwilling to leave, permanently rooted like a tree. Cardi B was telling Stefon Diggs on his own screen that his working theory was garbage. Cardi B said the silent part into a live microphone. Some people believe a baby is a chain. Cardi B told the entire planet she carries bolt cutters. And if that felt like the ceiling of the moment, buckle in, because Cardi B went even harder in the next breath, in the same tone, without blinking once. A baby is not trapping her. Goodbye. That's the line Cardi B used. A baby won't trap her, she'd leave, have 10 of them and she'd still leave, take the house, the car, the hotel, take everything and vanish into a new city with a new number. Read that carefully. Have 10. 10. Cardi B was saying she could birth 10 children with a man and still walk out on him without a second glance. That's not a diss. That's not a shot. That's a doctrine. That's a woman standing in front of a camera announcing that no headcount, no shared bloodline, no biological argument, nothing overrides her personal freedom under any circumstances. And Stefon Diggs is out here still processing the idea that fatherhood equals forever. This man is not listening. He is hearing the words and translating them into a language of his own invention. Cardi B also came for the commenters trying to drag her. Cardi B told her audience she was tired of pretending to be slow, tired of pretending to be quiet, tired of pretending to be dumb, and that if the internet wanted to run at her for 2 more days, she was ready to run twice as hard back at every last one of them. And Cardi B said that with the calm of a woman who has never lost a public argument in her life. Because some corners of the internet, in their infinite audacity, were actually pushing the idea that Cardi B didn't even write the lyric herself. Someone else wrote it? This woman has been drafting hits since Bodak Yellow set the charts on fire in 2017. Cardi B has been holding the pen for nearly a decade without missing a step. And a few unbothered posters wanted to question her authorship over a viral bar? That's not skepticism. That's disrespect wearing a costume. And Cardi B tore the costume off in real time, in HD, with the receipts on her side. Now let's watch how the pieces lock together. You saw the broadcast, but the calendar behind it is where the story sharpens into a blade with a handle grip. Cardi B and Stefon Diggs first started catching link rumors in October 2024. Cardi B didn't confirm. She didn't deny. She simply told her viewers on a previous live that people could believe whatever they wanted to believe. That was smart posture. That was strategic ambiguity. By February 2025, Cardi B and Stefon Diggs were spotted arriving together at a Miami hotel on Valentine's Day. In April 2025, Cardi B was dancing on him at Coachella under festival lights with cameras rolling. In May 2025, they were courtside at a Knicks game, hands locked, cameras clicking, headlines writing themselves. In June 2025, Cardi B made him Instagram official on a yacht, captioning the post about closing one chapter and opening the next. In September 2025, Cardi B sat with Gayle King on CBS Mornings and told the world that Stefon Diggs made her feel safe, confident, and strong. In November 2025, they welcomed a baby boy into the world. And then in February 2026, 3 months after that baby's birth, Cardi B stood on a tour stage and told the world she and her baby daddy were officially past tense. Run this math with me one time. November 2025 to February 2026. That's 12 weeks. 12 weeks between a newborn and a public announcement that the relationship was buried under 6 feet of receipts. That's not a slow drift. That's not a gradual unwinding. That's a woman doing the math, drawing the line, and stepping across it before the diapers even ran out of the first box. And Stefon Diggs did not see the exit coming? He did not read the room. A woman who told him to his face she had no tolerance for nonsense drew the line exactly where she said she would draw it, and somehow he was surprised. That is not surprise. That is denial dressed up in a jersey. Here's the piece most creators skipped completely. On February 8, 2026, the day before the Super Bowl, an ESPN reporter cornered Cardi B and asked whether she had a message for Stefon Diggs before the biggest game of his life. Her answer? 2 words. Good luck. Then Cardi B walked out of frame. Meanwhile, in the same news cycle, Stefon Diggs told reporters that proposing to Cardi B was on his radar. On the agenda. This man was floating engagement rings while Cardi B was handing him 2-word farewells at press junkets in front of a live camera. The Patriots lost that Super Bowl 29-13. And Cardi B left the stadium at halftime, before the second half even started. Cardi B posted herself in her car after the show, playing a Bad Bunny record for her followers with a smile on her face. Cardi B didn't stay to watch the second half. Cardi B didn't stay for a hug afterward. Cardi B got in the car. And Stefon Diggs was still talking proposals in press conferences. That's not misreading the room. That's not even being in the same building as the room. That's not even on the same street as the room. Layer that against May 2026. In the same month Cardi B and Stefon Diggs were caught arguing outside that Maryland coffee shop. They also appeared together at a Mother's Day family gathering. Within weeks. A public flare-up followed by a family photo op followed by another public flare-up. That's not reconciliation. That's turbulence disguised as togetherness. And Stefon Diggs's public strategy was to publicly dismiss the argument on TMZ while simultaneously trying to slide back into her orbit at family events. You cannot demean a woman on the record and pursue her off the record inside the same news cycle. That isn't affection. That's confusion. That's a man who has no idea what he wants except that he wants Cardi B to keep tolerating him. And Cardi B is expected to build a household on top of that? A household? On top of that grade of inconsistency? Not a chance in the universe. And here's a beat almost every commentator missed. Cardi B's next single, an unreleased track fans were already labeling AHA, was formally announced on July 29, 2026. The day after the live. The teaser had already gone nuclear. Cardi B teased a music video shoot for that weekend. Then Cardi B locked the release date to July 31, 2026. That live wasn't just an emotional address. That live was a rollout in disguise. Cardi B was building buzz, diffusing gossip, previewing visuals, and lighting the fuse on a single drop, all inside a single stream. Cardi B even said it out loud on the broadcast. Cardi B said she was just having fun with the music now. Fun. Cardi B was running a full-scale label promotion cycle and calling it fun. Argue whatever you want about Cardi B, but the woman knows exactly how to convert an emotional headline into a marketing engine that runs on autopilot for weeks after the stream ends. Here's the angle nobody dared to touch until now. Every commentator is stuck on the lyric, the shade, the relationship, the drama. Nobody is talking about the vocabulary. Nobody is dissecting the specific words Cardi B chose. Let's break this down word by word, because once you see the linguistic engineering underneath, you cannot unsee it. First, the word trap. Cardi B didn't say a baby won't keep her. Cardi B didn't say a baby won't hold her. Cardi B said trap. That's not romantic vocabulary. That's not soft vocabulary. That's language borrowed from hunting, from snares, from cages, from wilderness survival manuals. A trap is a mechanism designed to capture something that never chose to be captured. Cardi B was not describing love. Cardi B was not describing commitment. Cardi B was describing a tactic that had been attempted on her without her consent. Keep implies you might want to stay. Trap implies you never wanted to stay in the first place. One word and Cardi B reframes the entire emotional architecture of the relationship. And Stefon Diggs did not see that reframe coming down the pipe. Cardi B processes everything. Cardi B told us that on the broadcast. Cardi B said maybe she processes things in her head differently. Different doesn't mean slow. Different means Cardi B is running arithmetic in the background nobody can see. Different means Cardi B has been 3 moves ahead the entire time. Then look at the word "by." Right in the middle of her explanation, Cardi B casually drops a "by" like she is closing a browser tab. A baby is not trapping her. By. Not, I would consider leaving. Not, I might reconsider the relationship. Not, we should talk this out. Just by. It is the most dismissive syllable in the English language when deployed with intention. It's what you type when you're done arguing, when you've stopped caring, when the conversation is already a memory in the archive. Cardi B was treating the entire concept of maternal entrapment like it was a promotional email she had already deleted twice. That's not fury. That's apathy. And apathy is more terminal than fury by a mile. Fury still fights. Fury still cares. Fury still tries. Apathy has already packed the suitcase and ordered the ride. Stefon Diggs was still swimming through the coffee shop argument in his head while Cardi B had already emotionally checked out 3 cities ago. 2 entirely different emotional zip codes on 2 entirely different continents. Then look at what Cardi B said she was taking. The house. The car. The hotel. Notice Cardi B is not itemizing feelings. Cardi B is not listing memories. Cardi B is not sentimental. Cardi B is listing property. That's the language of a woman who has already done the accounting on the exit down to the last invoice. Cardi B has calculated the assets, the transitions, the temporary lodging, the whole itinerary from door to door. And Cardi B named the hotel specifically. A hotel is not a permanent asset. A hotel is a transition. Cardi B was announcing that she has already planned the in-between, the temporary landing pad while the next permanent move takes shape. Her exit is not a fantasy. Her exit is a GPS route with turn-by-turn directions saved to a burner phone. Stefon Diggs is drafting proposal speeches while Cardi B is on the phone with the front desk asking about weekly rates. And then the moment that stopped me cold. Have 10, I'll leave. 10. Not 1 more. Not 2 more. 10. Cardi B picked a deliberately absurd number to make a philosophical point that could not be misinterpreted. There is no number of children that will ever make Cardi B stay somewhere she does not want to stay. That's not a lyric. That's a manifesto. Cardi B is telling you her commitment to herself is fixed, absolute, immovable, non-negotiable. The number 10 is impossible on purpose. It is designed to close every loophole. Even in the most extreme scenario you can dream up, her answer does not change 1 syllable. That's not flexibility. That's a concrete wall reinforced with steel. And if Stefon Diggs believed introducing a child into the equation would soften her nature, he wasn't paying attention. Stefon Diggs was making assumptions. And his assumptions failed the audit hard. And notice the medium Cardi B chose. Cardi B did not release a statement. Cardi B did not drop a diss record and hide behind the vocals. Cardi B did not tweet, delete, retweet. Cardi B went on live. Face visible. Voice steady. Tone measured. Cardi B picked the most exposed, most unedited, most vulnerable broadcast option available to a global celebrity with millions of followers. Because Cardi B wanted the world to see the certainty on her face in real time. Cardi B was not angry. Cardi B was decided. There is a canyon between anger and certainty that most people never learn to cross. Anger you can apologize into calm. Certainty is a sealed vault with no key and no combination. And that vault is what makes this so brutal for Stefon Diggs. There is no walk back. There is no misinterpretation. Cardi B sat down in front of a lens and told millions of witnesses exactly who she is and exactly what she will and won't tolerate under any circumstance. Let's talk about how the media handled this, because the coverage disparity tells you something on its own about how outlets protect certain names. The Jasmine brand covered the story as Cardi B explaining her viral lyric. Clean. Professional. Almost gentle in the delivery. As if this was a songwriting workshop where Cardi B walked fans through her creative process over coffee. But the bars themselves, the "have 10 I'll leave," the "take the hotel and run," those are not explanations. Those are declarations. The Jasmine brand kept the coverage tidy, but the tidiness undersold the earthquake. Anyone who actually watched the broadcast in full knows the stream was not lyric interpretation. It was confrontation delivered at room temperature. Hot new hip-hop pushed further and framed the moment as Cardi B implying she was done with Stefon Diggs for good. That framing is closer to the truth. Hot new hip-hop saw the pattern. They connected the 12-week gap between the newborn and the public split. They saw the tour statement in February and the live in July and understood these were not two isolated events happening on separate maps. They were chapters in the same manuscript with the same author. Hot new hip-hop had the courage to call the storyline what it actually was. Done. Not pausing. Not on a break. Not figuring things out. Done. Online took a different angle and framed the story around speculation that Cardi B had thrown shots at Stefon Diggs during her recent concert. Treated the tour statement and the live as part of one connected narrative, a pattern of Cardi B methodically drawing a line in public for months. Honestly, they were not wrong. This was not a single flash. This was a campaign with a rollout calendar. From February's tour stage to July's live, Cardi B has been broadcasting the same message on a loop, and Online saw the loop even if they did not fully unpack the strategy behind it. When a woman announces on stage in February that she is done with her baby daddy, and then in July calmly explains why no baby will ever cage her, that's not two headlines. That's one continuous statement delivered in stereo across 2 seasons. People, on the other hand, went with the insider framing. Their exclusive suggested Cardi B pulled back because things got too heated and too complicated. That's the diplomatic version. That's the version that keeps the brand deals clean and the sponsor conversations easy for everyone involved. But we already broke down the actual language on the record. The asset list. The buy. The have 10. That's not pulling back. That's launching. People's framing protects the brand, which is smart optics for a woman with an album cycle and a fashion partnership on deck, but it undersells how decisive the move actually was in practice. This was not a step back. This was a full walkout with the door slammed behind her and the locks changed by the next morning. Now some corners of the internet want to push a defensive frame around Stefon Diggs. They are saying Cardi B wasn't shading Stefon Diggs at all, that she was just talking to fans, explaining her lyric, minding her business, and the internet is manufacturing a controversy out of thin air. Some Stefon Diggs defenders are floating the idea that, "a baby won't trap me," is just a generic flex, not a personal shot at any specific person. Here's why that argument collapses on contact with reality. If it was generic, why did Cardi B need to sit down on live and explain it in painful detail? Why did Cardi B reference her feelings when she wrote it? Feelings. Generic flexes do not come with feelings attached. Generic bars do not require 20-minute live stream breakdowns from the artist. That bar was personal. Anyone claiming otherwise is running defense for a man who got publicly outmaneuvered by his own baby mother in front of the entire hip-hop internet. Here's what nobody is saying out loud yet. Here's the layer everyone missed while they were arguing over surface details. Every commentator is stuck on the shade, the drama, the breakup, and the receipts. Nobody is looking at the actual chessboard. Because that live was not a vent session. That broadcast was a 3-move operation, and Cardi B executed all 3 moves without breaking a sweat or missing a beat. Move 1, music promotion. Cardi B previewed the record. Cardi B monitored the reaction in real time on the same screen. Cardi B teased a video shoot for the weekend. And the next morning, the single had a release date locked in on every streaming platform. That is not accidental. That is a coordinated marketing campaign masquerading as an emotional broadcast. Every headline written about the "Can't Trap Me" bar is free advertising for the single. Every reaction video, every blog post, every Twitter thread, every commentator, every podcast breakdown, they are all funneling attention into her streaming numbers without realizing they are on payroll. And Stefon Diggs is a marketing tool inside his own baby mother's rollout and doesn't even know he's clocked in. His name is trending so her song can chart. That's not shade. That's supply chain logistics. And the Stefon Diggs defenders are out here defending the man who is literally generating the promotional lift they are complaining about with every angry tweet. The irony is cosmic. The irony is astronomical. The irony writes itself. Move 2, the message to Stefon Diggs. This is where the temperature drops to freezing and stays there. Cardi B didn't text Stefon Diggs privately. Cardi B didn't call. Cardi B didn't have a mediated conversation behind closed doors. Cardi B aired his relationship out on Instagram Live in front of millions of strangers with screenshot buttons. Cardi B said, "A baby won't trap me," and then explained it in painful detail for anyone slow enough to need subtitles. That wasn't communication. That was public sentencing dressed up as clarification. Cardi B made sure Stefon Diggs heard it the exact same way the rest of the planet heard it. On a screen. Live. With no chance to respond, no room to spin, no timeline to soften, no back channel to manage the fallout. That's psychological warfare with a filter and a ring light. Cardi B didn't just leave the relationship. Cardi B broadcast the exit on a schedule with a release plan. And the thing about broadcasted exits is you cannot unbroadcast them once they land. You cannot say you were emotional. You cannot pretend it did not happen. Cardi B burned the bridge in front of millions of witnesses with camera phones and screenshot tools. Stefon Diggs, a professional athlete who was recently drafting engagement plans, is now a footnote in her narrative. The wide receiver became the receipt. And Cardi B just made that reality clear to every corner of the culture with one broadcast. Here's the deeper reality nobody wants to say out loud. The industry does not care about Stefon Diggs's feelings. The industry cares about Cardi B's next record. Cardi B is the one who moves units in the millions. Cardi B is the one who sells out arenas across 35 cities without breaking a sweat. Cardi B is the one with the album cycle, the single rollout, the tour dates, the streaming clout, the fashion partnerships, the beauty deals, the streaming series, the endorsement stack. Stefon Diggs is a gifted athlete, no argument, but in the entertainment economy, Stefon Diggs is a supporting character in her feature film with a smaller trailer. The industry needs Cardi B to win because Cardi B is a revenue engine that prints headlines on command. Cardi B fills seats. Cardi B breaks streaming records. Cardi B generates viral moments on a monthly basis. Stefon Diggs is a man who cannot even control the narrative around his own personal life for one news cycle. Stefon Diggs is being outplayed off the field by a woman whose entire career is running plays on the culture from a laptop. Cardi B choreographs narratives professionally. Stefon Diggs catches footballs professionally. And right now, Cardi B just ran a route his coverage scheme was not built to handle in any defensive package. Move 3, and this is the deepest layer of the entire operation, the layer that makes the other two layers make sense. The rebrand. Cardi B just repositioned herself as a woman who cannot be trapped. Not by a man. Not by a child. Not by public opinion. Not by age. Not by motherhood. Not by any external pressure that has ever existed in the history of celebrity. Remember, on the same broadcast, Cardi B also addressed the noise about her club appearances. Cardi B said if she is spending $10,000 on a section, $8,000 on bottles, and $2,000 on hookah, she is going to shake it from the moment she walks in until the moment she leaves the venue. Cardi B said she is a phenomenal mother and nobody can strip that from her. Cardi B talked about being 33 years old and watching people around her die from cancer and diabetes, watching classmates disappear in their prime while she was still building her empire. That was not casual venting. That was a philosophy statement. Cardi B was telling you exactly who she is now. A woman who lives on her own terms. Full period. Full stop. Cardi B was saying she is not the woman who stayed with Offset through public embarrassment after public embarrassment. Cardi B is not the woman who lets a baby daddy dictate her next chapter. Cardi B is the woman who leaves. And that rebrand is not just aimed at Stefon Diggs. That rebrand is aimed at the culture. Cardi B is drawing a line in wet concrete and daring anyone to test it before it dries. Stefon Diggs defenders keep reaching for angles, but the timeline is bulletproof. Every move Stefon Diggs has made has been reactive. Every move Cardi B has made has been proactive. That's not a match. That's a dominance display on live stream. That's the truth almost nobody wanted to say out loud until now. This wasn't event. This wasn't a lyric clarification. This wasn't emotional processing on camera. This was a strategic reveal executed by a professional. Cardi B showed you three things at once, in one continuous broadcast, without cutting to commercial. A new single. A dead relationship. A brand new identity. 3 moves, 1 broadcast, no hesitation, no rehearsal, no editing suite between her mouth and your feed. And while everyone is debating whether or not Cardi B was aiming at Stefon Diggs, Cardi B is already on to the next move. Because that's what chess players do. Chess players make you stare at the piece they just captured while they set up the next one behind your back. Stefon Diggs is not even a piece on her board anymore. Stefon Diggs is a memory Cardi B is monetizing on a release schedule. So what happens next? Here's the most probable sequence based on the receipts we have. AHA drops on July 31st. It's going to do serious numbers on every chart in America. Not just because the record itself will be strong sonically, but because the context has already pre-sold the audience emotionally. Every viewer who watched the live, every blog that dissected the lyric, every reaction channel that dissected the breakdown, every podcast that analyzed the delivery, they will all stream the record looking for more embedded shots at Stefon Diggs. The controversy is rocket fuel and Cardi B just topped off the tank with the pump running overtime. Once those first week numbers hit the trackers, Cardi B will not need to say another word to anybody. The chart position will speak for her in headlines. The streams will handle the finishing touches on the narrative. Meanwhile, Stefon Diggs is walking into a psychological trap of his own making with his eyes wide open. If Stefon Diggs stays silent, he looks weak. His baby mother told the entire world he is disposable and he responded with nothing. Not a post. Not a comment. Not a whisper. Not a training clip. That silence will echo across every timeline for months, maybe years. If Stefon Diggs does respond, he looks bitter. And a bitter NFL wide receiver responding to a rapper's live stream is one of the most lopsided public battles in entertainment history. Stefon Diggs will probably try to take the high road first. Maybe a training clip on Instagram. Maybe a Bible verse posted at sunrise with a mountain photo. Maybe a "focus on the season" caption. But nobody is buying it, and the algorithm knows it. The silence will still be loud. And any response, whenever it arrives, will be too little too late for the news cycle that already sentenced him. Now, if Stefon Diggs does decide to speak, whether through an interview, a podcast appearance, or an unnamed source close to the situation will only accelerate downhill fast. Because Cardi B does not play defense. Cardi B plays offense. Every single time. If Stefon Diggs says one syllable in public, Cardi B will go back on live, and this time she will not be explaining lyrics. Cardi B will be telling stories. And Cardi B stories arrive with time stamps, text screenshots, location data, and receipts printed on demand. We have already watched what Cardi B did to Offset over the years. Cardi B aired every betrayal, every lie, every detail on stages, on live streams, on Twitter, in interviews with major publications. Stefon Diggs is not ready for that grade of exposure at that volume. Stefon Diggs thought the coffee shop clip was uncomfortable. If Stefon Diggs pokes the bear, he will get the entire zoo dumped on his front lawn on Live in HD with subtitles. And his NFL image? Erased. Corporate sponsors do not put money behind the athlete who got publicly dismantled by a rapper on her own broadcast. Stefon Diggs will lose before he even hits send on the response. Cardi B is already 3 plays ahead while Stefon Diggs is still watching the film from the last one on repeat. Bookmark this moment, because the ripple is going to travel far past Cardi B and Stefon Diggs and reshape how the culture talks about motherhood, freedom, and celebrity partnerships. This lyric will become a cultural fixture. The "a baby won't trap me" line will be quoted by women for years across every platform. It will appear in TikTok captions, in graduation posts, in breakup montages, in empowerment reels, in book titles, in podcast intros. Because Cardi B just gave language to something millions of women had been feeling silently but did not know how to articulate out loud. Motherhood is not a cage. Sharing a child with a man is not a lifetime sentence to that man's decisions. Cardi B named a boundary that a generation had been circling around for years without a vocabulary. 5 years from now, historians of pop culture will point to this live as the moment Cardi B compressed an entire philosophy into a single 16-bar rebellion on wax. And Stefon Diggs will be the cautionary example in every case study. The man who mistook a baby for a leash and learned in real time that Cardi B carries wire cutters. His pop culture legacy is going to be the guy who got publicly disassembled on a live stream by his own baby mother. Not the catches. Not the yards. Not the touchdown reels. That single AHA moment when his baby mother sat calmly in front of a lens and informed the whole planet she would leave him with 10 kids, a house, a car, and a hotel reservation, and there is nothing on earth Stefon Diggs can do to reverse it. The internet is forever. That broadcast is archived. That lyric is on a record with a release date. Stefon Diggs cannot delete it, cannot spin it, cannot PR his way out of it. It's carved into the internet's memory in permanent ink. And whatever moves Stefon Diggs attempts from here, one truth is already settled and locked in. Stefon Diggs has already lost this round, this cycle, this narrative, this news window. Cardi B did not just walk out of a relationship. Cardi B walked out of it in HD, in surround sound, in front of a global audience with screenshot buttons, and turned the whole exit into a marketing campaign with a release calendar. Cardi B turned heartbreak into a headline into a single, and a single into a chapter of her legacy. And the culture will remember exactly who lit the match, who fanned the flames, and who walked away without looking back. Thanks for watching. If this breakdown pulled the truth out of the noise for you, hit that like button, smash subscribe, and turn on the bell so you never miss when we drag another headline into forensic daylight. Tap one of these videos on your screen next, because trust me, the story we told here connects directly to the one you're about to watch, and you are not ready for what we found buried inside it.